Hi, and welcome to a podcast from the St. Raymond Donatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. Dr. Ann DeSantis with my great friend Caroline Godin, my co-host for this series. This is our series on 12 ways to heal after a crisis for families in crisis or individuals. And since it's our last one, we're going to talk about how you can help somebody else that has gone through your situation. Maybe it's something to do with divorce or separation or trauma, job loss, loss of a loved one, health crisis, whatever that is. There's ways that we can extend ourselves in imitation of Christ. I always say this at the beginning, Caroline. Tell us about you and the work that you do so people can get to know you better.
Sure, sure. I am a catechist at our parish, especially the confirmation class. And I also am a mom of three kids, two teenagers and a little guy. And and I work at a martial arts studio. And I am a freelance writer for different Catholic groups as well.
Yes, and we have a lot in common with that. Catholic Mom, Epic Pew, Catholic
Yes,
365. Just go to
yes.
those sites and read some of Caroline's wonderful articles, where we've even done some podcasts on our SoundCloud channel, our Philly Nonatus SoundCloud channel. And so, since this is the last one in the series, as a recap, I just think that the wisdom of passing on some of these little bits of wisdom with our faith to help somebody else. What's your take on that, Caroline? I know both of us have gone through stuff, and I think when you can um, kind of get out of yourself or out of myself and be able to help somebody else is really where there's a lot of healing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I can tell you how valuable it's been when I'm going through something difficult, and especially when it's something that's a long road with many steps to get through, to listen to someone who has gone through something similar, even if their situation is, different, just to hear encouragement and what worked for them and how they figured that out. And, you know, it's so encouraging to know that you're not alone in whatever situation you're in. Your situation is unique to you, but the types of things that you go through, so many people have gone through. And to be able to share that with others is also really rewarding, to say, okay, I came through this fire and now I'm able to impart that wisdom as much as I can to someone else who needs that, because that's been invaluable for me on the receiving end, and it's really rewarding on the giving end as well.
Yeah, that's good advice. And I agree with you 100%. And I think I would compare it almost to, like, say you go through a health crisis and say you get your opinion from your doctor about what you should do with whatever that is. But they always say it's good to get another opinion, right? So I think that when you help someone else, not to say that it's exactly that same analogy, but
Mhm.
it's that whole idea of, not staying inside one box, right? There's different ways to find healing. There's different ways to find restoration, to find better relationship with God and with other people. And when we just start sharing yourself a little bit, right? And
Mhm.
I give that analogy with the doctor because you'd be surprised that when you do kind of ask around. Now, of course, it's got to be the right person, right?
It
You
does.
can't be asking people, like, say you're a Catholic that's very devoted to your faith, and you're asking people that don't care about the Catholic Church or about Christianity at all, then you're not going to get that kind of advice that you really need, especially if, that is something that, you really want to follow and it's important to you. So
Mhm.
same thing like with the doctor's advice, you go to people that you trust, right? And so when somebody comes to you who's gone through something, and maybe you're that person that they can trust with whatever that situation is. Um, there are some things we want to keep to ourselves, I think, when we go through a crisis or a trauma, because, we don't want our neighbors, talking about all the stuff going on with our lives, right? I mean, you have to be able to discern who are the right people to ask. So I don't know what your thoughts are on that, because isn't that true? I mean,
Oh,
we
yes.
have to be careful. And I would say that to
Yes.
anyone watching.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're trying to keep things in a Catholic perspective or a Christian perspective, there are certain people that you might be great friends with, but if you're looking for support in a particular way, you may not want to ask some of those friends that maybe you have a great time um, playing card games with those folks, or doing a particular physical activity, you go running together or whatever that is, and you might be great friends. But if you're looking for advice that will align with your beliefs, your faith, you do want to ask someone that is in that spectrum. You want to talk to someone who's Catholic or even just Christian, depending on who you have available to you. So that is really important. And then if someone comes to you for advice, it's a great honor. It's a great honor to be the person that someone is coming to you and saying, like, look, I'm dealing with this and I don't know what to do. And the first thing in that position, the first thing I do, besides saying, wow, I'm honored that you're trusting me with this. And the best thing you can do for that person is listen really deeply. I've talked about active listening on several articles that I've written, and active listening is just, you're looking at their mannerisms, you're looking at the expression on their face, you're listening for their tone, what's their body posture, all that kind of stuff, because that tells you so much more than just the words. You're not just reading words off a page. If you're listening, you're paying attention to their whole selves. And I think,
Yeah,
yeah, it's so important to be a good listener when you're in that position.
I agree. Yeah, and it's something I've written about too, about how to be a better listener. A lot of times when we listen or when other people listen to us, they're waiting for us to finish so that they can tell us what they think we should do, or that they have a story that they want to share. I'm guilty of it too. I mean, our minds go in that direction. You think, oh, I know all about that. But, on the topic of this podcast, if you want to help someone who has gone through the same thing that you've gone through, then remember that their situation isn't going to be exactly like yours. So we need to hear what happened. Like, say, if it was a divorce, sometimes it's the husband that's wanting the divorce, and then sometimes it's the wife. So not every divorce is always the same. We know that, and in relationships are all different. So just keep it in mind to just wait a few seconds and let them finish what they're saying. And I think another good thing that we can do to help someone else is to repeat back what they're saying, so that that's a great way to show somebody that you are listening to them. Like, just say they say, I was out driving today. I got in a car accident. The police came, they towed away my truck. So you could say, wow, I'm so sorry to hear that you had a car accident and the police came. And I mean, yeah, it can be kind of redundant, but when they hear those words back, that yes, you heard what they said and you weren't just thinking of what you should say next, then it does make a tremendous difference for the other person.
The other thing that does is, when you're listening that deeply, you might, it's so easy to misinterpret what someone is saying. So you might say, wow, you got into that car accident and the police came and they towed away your truck. And they might say, no, you misunderstood. This is what happened. And you'd say,
Mm,
oh, I'm so sorry. And then you repeat it back in the other way. And they say, yeah, it's a way to verify that you care, first of all, because you're verifying what they're saying, and that you're able to repeat it back to say that you understood. And I think people appreciate that as well. And now when you do that, you establish that trust.
yeah. Oh, that's big. I like what you just said, establishing trust, because really, in helping another person isn't going to share if they don't trust you. And I don't know about you, Caroline, but when I meet a person in whatever capacity, whether it's neighborhood, family, professional, whatever it is, um, if I don't feel that I could trust the person, because you can get like little signs from a person, whether it's somebody you can trust, I'll keep it a little surface, and we all have to just keep that in mind, that trust is probably number one for most people. And it's just an important thing. Another thing I thought we could talk about was, maybe there's a ministry or an organization or something like that in your area that you can help. Um, I've had people come to the foundation and ask us, how can I help you? And we do have a board of directors who are kind of steering the ship. One employee, which is me. Um, One way that people can help is to pray, pray for our ministry. That's huge. And another thing is to donate. If it's in your heart and you want to give us a $25 or $50 donation, believe me, that's a huge thing you can do to help us. Just go to our website, nonatus.org. Um, as far as other things, like right now, we don't have a long list of other activities. Caroline's helping us right now. She's being a helper with our foundation by being my co-host. That's huge. Um, but I don't know. I mean, I just think there's so many organizations. Say you like pro-life. Maybe there's a pro-life organization in your area. Caroline, just talk about any ideas you might have
Yeah,
for
I mean,
them.
if you have wisdom to impart, or you've gone through something, even if you're still dealing with repercussions from it, any support groups that you can find, you're not only finding help for yourself, but you're finding help among the peers that your peers who have also gone through something similar. Support groups that will support your faith as well, because there's so many ministries, and you don't have to stick to just your own parish. If your parish doesn't have a ministry for the particular issue that you've dealt with or are dealing with, reach out. There's other parishes that are close to you that you might be able to find a ministry for such and such. And you start becoming part of that community, and you find a little support for yourself, but you're also able to be that person to support others who come into that. And always just there's always Facebook groups. There's Facebook groups for every topic imaginable, and people help each other out all the time. Now, you do have to take some of that advice with a grain of salt, because you don't necessarily on Facebook or another social media platform know that other person. But if it's a local community, that's I think would be the more important, the more helpful way to get in touch with people.
I'm so glad you brought that up. That is, I think, extremely important. I'm not a huge fan of social media all the time because it can be a time waster, right? I mean, when you wake up
Yeah.
in the morning and you're scrolling and just seeing what's going on with people that you know, but some of these Facebook groups are very valuable. I could just share a health issue that I had many, many years ago, having to do with heart issues, which I'm fine right now. Don't worry, I'm fine. But they do have a Facebook group for that particular ailment. And years ago, when I first got diagnosed with it, there was nothing. There was no Facebook or anything. So if I met someone who had this disorder, this disease, then it was just a rare, rare thing because it wasn't a very common diagnosis. And so, having these Facebook groups for whatever it is, whether it's a job loss, something to do with pro life or marriage, divorce, separation, any of that stuff. I mean, there's bound to be a good Facebook group for you um, out there. I do want to mention we have one for the sick. The St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation has one for those who are sick in some way. We started during COVID-19 and we just kept it. And so if you could look that up, St. Raymond Nonatus Foundation, prayer requests for the sick, I think it's called, something to that effect. But check it out because that might be something that you or someone could ask for prayer. So, Caroline, any ideas that you might have? Any other ideas for people watching about getting active to help other people?
Oh, just like I said, reach out to your community, your parish. If whatever issue that topic that you're thinking of helping with has to do with like the school or something that in your neighborhood, um, just kind of see what's available in your community. If there's not anything available, don't be afraid to start something. You'd be surprised how many people suffer with particular things in their life, and they don't know, they feel alone. And if you've gone through something, you've felt that aloneness, like you're like, no one's helping me. Nobody's gone through this. Nobody understands. But that's not true. That's self-talk, and that's a lie, because there are always people who have gone through something similar. And the more we reach out to each other, the more support we're going to get, the greater chance that we have to be resilient and to get through it. So definitely search online, search your community, and see what you can do to be proactive about that.
Yeah, proactive. That's good. And no matter where you live, whether it's something local, like right in your community, I'm in Pennsylvania, Caroline's up in Massachusetts. There's always things that you can search, in your county, in your town, in your state, could just be even in your state, of ways that you can get active. I do believe that when you extend yourself in some way of service, it's really it's almost like, if you think about it, the Christmas tree that you're ready to put the star on the top, or the birthday cake that needs the candles and then to be lit, the candles need to be lit. It's kind of like that, in terms of like, you want to bring more healing into your life. Well, uh, I think we're always in a process of healing, all of us. But when you do extend yourself, I think it's kind of a special thing that happens to your soul, that you can feel that fulfillment, in that you're able to offer someone that you didn't something that you did not get, if that makes any sense. You might not have gotten the advice or the camaraderie or the fellowship during a time of crisis, but maybe you can give it now.
Hmm.
Maybe it's your time to give back. And
Yeah.
so I just encourage you, if you're watching this and thinking, I've been through so much. I don't know if I have the time. I don't know if I have the money. Well, money's one thing, but I mean, the time, sometimes it's, believe it or not, it can be something very, very small. You might not even have to join any type of organization. You might be able to just be a better friend to the people that are already there in your neighborhood, or your
Hmm.
family, or your extended family. You might be able to just offer um, some prayer for people. Pray for those in your family and your loved ones for their needs. Get
Yeah.
outside of yourself. I think sometimes when we go through stuff, we can feel sorry for ourselves. And when that happens, and it's not understandable, but when that happens, sometimes we can get a little selfish. And I think that when we can come out of ourselves and become part of society again, become part of community, part of family, part of church, all of that, it can do nothing but help you. And you'll find friends along the way. Not one thing I've learned in my years of living is that not everyone can be friends, right? Because we only have so much time,
Hmm.
right? So we can't be friends with everybody. But the people that you do have in your life, you can make time for them, right? Make time to listen and to do things with, and see how you can help.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this series has been wonderful, hasn't it?
Yeah. I hope people get lots of little nuggets out of it that will really help them through whatever they're going through.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and I just want to repeat again the name of the series. It's been 12 Ways to Heal from a Crisis, on the Philly Nonatus YouTube channel. Subscribe if you could, and just listen to all 12 of those, because during each one of those podcasts, Caroline and I really unpacked like things that you can do to get over a crisis, whatever it is. And in the foundation definition of trauma and crisis, there's a very wide definition. When we first got involved in this, we were helping mostly people who are affected by separation and divorce, but it's expanded so much since then. Crisis that I never even dreamed that I would have heard of before I started working for them, working in this ministry. So, to Caroline, I want to just say thank you so much for all your hard work for us. You are an amazing person. I invite people to please connect with Caroline and read her articles on Epic Pew, Catholic 365, and Catholic Mom. She is a wonderful writer. She's a good person. I never would have done this many podcasts with somebody that I didn't personally just like and get along great with. So,
It's been a pleasure.
yeah, yeah, it's just great. She's just a one of a kind, and I'm so grateful. We've never met in person yet, but we are going to one of
Yep.
these
It's going to
days.
happen one of these days.
I know, because I'm traveling up to the Boston area this year. We're taping this January of 2025, but hopefully later this year, when I get out that way to do a talk, we can try to get together then. But Caroline, any final words before we end?
Oh, just keep, they say that they say to stay positive, but that's not always something that seems very possible. But I will say this, stay hopeful, because
Mm,
you can be in a dark spot, you can be in a rough patch. But if you have hope, that doesn't mean that the glass is always half full. But if you have hope, you believe that it will get better, that something better will come. And that's what you need to hold on to. So whatever you're going through, have hope and try to exude that hope on others as well. And that is all about Christianity right there.
amen. Amen. Thank you. Thank you sincerely. You always do such an amazing job. I'll give you a big pat on the back and thank you for being my friend and also being my co-host. We will be back soon. At sometime this year, we're going to be doing a parenting podcast series, a 12-part series. We're not starting quite yet, but just keep your eyes and ears open for that. God bless. Thank you so much, Caroline.
You're very welcome. Look forward to the next one.
Thank you. And we'll see all of you next time here with the St. Raymond Nonnatus Foundation for Freedom, Family, and Faith. God bless.